Hello everyone, welcome to the solution of LeetCode problem 2115 named Find all possible recipes from given supplies. In this problem, you have information about n different recipes and you are given a string array recipes and a two-dimensional string array ingredients where the ith recipe has the name of recipe I and you can create it if you have all the needed ingredients from the ingredient type. Now, our recipe can also be an ingredient for some other recipes. That is, ingredients I may contain a string that is in the recipes. Now, you are also given a string array supplies containing all the ingredients you initially have, and you have an infinite supplies of all of them. Now, we have to return a list of all the recipes that you can create, and you may return the answer in any order. Note that two recipes may contain each other in their ingredient. Now let's consider the first example. Here, recipes we have to make is bread, and it has two ingredients, which is yeast and flour. And currently our supply has three ingredients, which is yeast, flour, and corn. Now, by using the yeast and flour from the supplies, we can make the recipe bread. So, we have to return bread. And this is the problem statement. I hope you understand it. Now, let's move on to the algorithm. Now, here, to understand the algorithm, we have taken another example. Currently, our recipe has three dish, which is bread and sandwich. Basically, there are two. Now, this bread and sandwich has bread has the ingredient yeast and flour, and to make the sandwich, we need the ingredient bread and meat. Now, our current supply has the yeast, flour, and meat. Now, the question is, how many items we can make? So here we can see that to make the bread, we need yeast and flour. So by using yeast and flour, we can make the ingredient or recipe bread. Now, to make the sandwich, we need bread and meat. That means there is a dependencies. That means sandwich is basically dependent on the bread. As the ingredient bread is not presented in the initial supply, so we can say that sandwich is dependent on the bread. Now, first of all, it is a dependency problem. Our recipe is dependent on its ingredient, and if any kind of problem, we have to deal with the dependencies, we can use the topological sort to solve this problem, and we will use the Kahn's algorithm. Now here, in the Kahn's algorithm, we will start the algorithm with all of the recipes which has in degree 0. That means our recipe has in degree of 0. That means it is not dependent on any other. That means we can easily make this recipe from the given supplies. So here, for this, the recipe bread has in degree 0. So we will visit the recipe bread and discard the outgoing edge from bread. Now we have the recipe sandwich, which has the in degree 0. So we will visit the recipe sandwich. So here we are basically using the level by level order search in the Kahn's algorithm. So here, by implementing the Kahn's algorithm, we have found that we can make two of the recipe. One is bread and another is sandwich. And we have understood how we have built the dependency graph of this problem. I hope you understood the algorithm. Now let's move on to the code. In this problem, the code is pretty simple. At first, we are given a function named find all recipes, which has a list of recipes and ingredients along with the supplies. Now, to build the adjacency list, we are taking a map. The key is string and the value is vector of string. And to calculate the in degree, we are taking another map where the key is string and the value is integer. Now, we have to assign all of the supplies into the set of string st. And to implement the Kahn's algorithm, we are taking a queue. And to store the answer, we are taking a vector answer. Now, initially, all of the recipes has the in degree of 0. Now, here we are building the dependency graph for each of the recipe. And if any of its ingredient is not presented into the supply, that means this recipe basically depend on this ingredient. So we have to insert the recipe into the ingredient ij and increment the in degree of the recipe. Now, for each of the in degree, if current element has in degree 0, that means we have to insert the current element into the queue to start the BFS. Now, while the queue is not empty, we have to store the current element into a variable current and we have to remove it. Now, we have to store the current element into answer. And for each child in the adjacency list of current, we have to decrement the in degree of child. That means we are excluding the outgoing edges, and if in degree of child is equal to 0, we have to insert it into the queue for the next iteration. After that, we have to return the answer, which will store all of the recipe till we have made. I hope you understood the code. Thank you everyone for watching the video. We will get back soon with another LeetCode solution.